How's it going, family? We continue going on. We left it off quite nicely. I think now we have that wrestling match that's starting now as we getting into Genesis 32 verse 24 itself. And it starts with, and Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. Now, this scripture is very layered in itself. It is very rich with symbolic meaning. The verse begins with Jacob being left alone, which symbolizes the stripping away of every layer of identity that is shaped by the outside world. When we take it into allegory and interpret it, being alone represents standing face to face with the unfiltered self, the inner truth that cannot be avoided or softened by distractions. This is the moment every spiritual seeker must reach. It is the point where your titles, relationships, achievements, and fears cannot protect you anymore. You stand in the raw presence of your own bare soul looking at yourself, your true self. The appearance of the mysterious man represents the inner conflict that arises when a person confronts their true self. The man is not just an external figure, but symbolizes Jacob's shadow, his unresolved identity, his fears, his past mistakes, and his unclaimed destiny. The wrestling becomes an internal battle between who Jacob has been and who he is meant to become. It symbolizes the struggle between ego and the higher self, between human limitation and divine purpose. Wrestling throughout the night reinforces a symbolic theme of confronting darkness. Night represents the subconscious, the place of hidden truths and internal battles themselves. The conflict continues until the breaking of day, which symbolizes the emergence of clarity, enlightenment, and new identity. Dawn represents revelation, the moment when light breaks through the confusion and the soul recognizes its true nature. Now, this verse represents every moment where a person must wrestle with the part of themselves that resists change. And we all go through this many a times. There are those aspects of us that just don't want to change. You want to stop drinking alcohol at times, but every weekend you keep doing it. You go back to the same exact triggers that make you drink over and over again. The encounter with the man symbolizes the meeting of destiny. The struggle symbolizes the transformation of identity. The dawn symbolizes breakthrough. Jacob's experience becomes a mirror for anyone standing at the edge of change itself. It is very rich because it reflects a profound psychological and neurological process. When the verse states that Jacob was left alone, it mirrors the moment the conscious mind disconnects from external stimuli and turns fully inwards. In neuroscience, solitude allows the brain to shift from external processing to internal integration. This quieting of external noise activates deeper structures of the subconscious, including memory centers within the limbic system and emotional imprints stored across neural pathways. Jacob's solitude symbolizes the mind entering a state where it is ready to confront the unresolved patterns that shape identity. The wrestling with the mysterious man symbolizes the internal conflict between competing structures within the psyche. This struggle mirrors the battle between old neural patterns and emerging ones. You know how sometimes you start new habits and then somehow, some way, the old self comes and messes everything up for you and it sets you back 10 steps. But you can always recover. You can always come back. It is the nature of the old self, the evil one, the lower nature, if you want to call it that, to always want to hold you back. You need to conquer the beast within. In psychological terms, it represents the clash between conditioned behaviors and the authentic self that is trying to emerge. The wrestling also mirrors the process of emotional regulation, where the limbic system battles with the executive functions of the prefrontal cortex. This internal battle often feels physically intense because emotional upheaval and identity shifts activate stress responses within the body, releasing adrenaline and heightening sensory awareness. The fact that the wrestling continues until the breaking of dawn reflects the neurological process of reaching a breakthrough. Dawn symbolizes the moment the brain synthesizes new insights, similar to how the mind resolves conflicts during sleep cycles. The breaking of the day represents the emergence of new understanding, the rewiring of neural networks, and the integration of the self after deep psychological struggle. Jacob's battle reflects the inner fight required when a person confronts trauma, ego, limiting beliefs, and deeply ingrained patterns. This verse symbolizes the anatomy of inner transformation. Solitude activates introspection. This is why sometimes it's good to sit in silence and listen to yourself. Quiet your mind and access yourself, your inner world. Wrestling reflects psychological conflict. Dawn represents integration and renewal. And this perfectly aligns with one of the oldest natural and cosmic laws, the law of transformation through pressure and isolation. The verse begins with Jacob being left alone, which reflects how nature often isolates a being before major change takes place. And this change at times is very heavy, it's very intense. It'll feel like you are breaking, but sometimes in the breaking in itself, you are becoming anew. In the natural world, transformation holds solitude. A seed transforms underground in darkness. A caterpillar transforms within a cocoon, separated from the world. Even dawn emerges from the silent depths of night. Jacob's solitude mirrors this universal pattern where isolation prepares a person for metamorphosis. You are changing. You are transforming now. The wrestling reflects another cosmic law, the law of resistance. In nature, growth always encounters resistance. The old nature is always fighting. You know those periods where you know you're going through a tough period. You're trying to stay positive, push through it. But the lower nature always comes with its negative thoughts. So now it's a whole wrestling match. And you need to win this wrestling match so that you can move to the next phase. Trees push against soil. Chicks break through shells and rivers shake. Stone through constant pressure. Resistance is not an obstacle to transformation, but the mechanism that activates it. Jacob's struggle with the mysterious man symbolizes the internal resistance that arises before evolution. Nature teaches that the greater the transformation, the stronger the resistance one must push through. Wrestling until the break of dawn reflects the cosmic rhythm of darkness giving birth to light. Light always emerges after the deepest darkness, just as clarity often emerges after the most painful internal battles. Dawn represents the natural law that revelation follows struggle. The transition from night to day mirrors the movement, from confusion to understanding. From limitation to new identity, the mysterious man symbolizes the forces in nature that challenge a person into becoming stronger. Nature never allows anything to evolve without being tested. Jacob's encounters a cosmic initiation. He wrestles with the force that pushes him into his next phase. Just as all living systems undergo pressure before growth. This verse reveals that transformation demands isolation, resistance, and perseverance. Nature confirms that dawn always follows the struggle itself. So beautiful and rich, because this scripture itself teaches one of the most important lessons for anyone committed to personal growth. Jacob being left alone shows that there are moments in life when you must step away. It's good from everything familiar in order to meet your true self. Solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. When life pulls you into isolation, it is often because you are entering a transition that requires clarity, stillness, and complete honesty. Many people try to avoid being alone because solitude forces them to confront the parts of themselves they have ignored. This verse shows that breakthrough begins the moment you stop running from yourself. The wrestling represents the inner struggle every person faces when confronting their fears, insecurities, traumas, or identity. Before transformation, there's always a fight with the self. You wrestle with old beliefs, past wounds, emotional resistance, habits that no longer serve you, and patterns that keep you small. The struggle may feel exhausting, confusing, or overwhelming, but it is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is being reborn within you. Wrestling until the break of the day teaches perseverance. Many people give up before the dawn arrives because the struggle feels too intense. And this is how a lot of people miss their breakthroughs, because you literally quit when you're supposed to learn the lesson and persevere and hold your position, no matter how hard it gets. As long as you are progressing, you are moving in this season, and you're not stagnant. This verse reminds you that breakthroughs often come after long periods of inner conflict. Dawn represents clarity, healing, renewal, and elevation. You must hold on until your light breaks through. This verse invites you to stop fearing solitude, stop resisting in a struggle, and trust the process of transformation. When life isolates you, it is positioning you for revelation. When inner conflict rises, it is shaping your strength. When you push through darkness, the dawn of a new identity appears here for you. It's a beautiful scripture, a beautiful verse. And we'll expand on this a bit more in the next installation when we get into Genesis 32 verse 25, where he saw that he could not prevail against him. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with this mysterious man. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more of this life transforming content.